Welcome back to the Wasteland, everybody. Today we're going to be doing more of a discussion video about Fallout, particularly Fallout New Vegas. However, this would also apply to Fallout 3 and kind of some of the other Fallout games as well. And this is going to be going over how the heck do crits work in Fallout, particularly in New Vegas and in Fallout 3, and how are they calculated. So we're primarily going to be looking at the luck stat today, where luck determines how often you are going to get crits. I've gotten a lot of questions recently on my weapon review videos about why don't I just put a percentage chance of hitting crits instead of like a times multiplier and some of the other stuff, because it's a bit confusing for crits. And you can't really do that because it is varied from character to character and whatever perks that you might have for that character. So that's why crits can't really just be seen as a percentage, at least in a broad sense. They can character to character, but not overall. Crits are primarily determined by the luck skill and by perks. There's also sneak crits, which aren't affected by necessarily either of these. They can be, but they're not always. So luck gives you 1% crit chance per level of luck that you have. So if you have 1 point into your luck skill, that means you have a 1% chance of hitting a crit. If you have 5 luck, then that means you have a 5%, and if you have 10 luck, then you have 10% chance of hitting a crit. This applies to every weapon equally, unless that weapon cannot hit crits, in which case then this won't apply. There are a couple weapons like this, mostly the explosive weapons, that would have like a 0 times crit modifier. So even if you had 5% chance of hitting a crit, that is multiplied by 0, and that is what the crit chance multiplier is. Most weapons have a 1 times crit chance multiplier, so this is a standard crit chance, meaning that if you have 10 luck, and if you're attacking with a weapon that has a 1 times crit chance, then that means you'll have a 10% chance of hitting a crit. If you have a 2 times crit modifier though, then this would double that. So you would go from having a 10% chance to hit a crit up to a 20% chance to hit a crit. There are some weapons that have a really high crit chance, like the Rat Slayer. The Rat Slayer actually has a 5 times crit chance. So if you have 10 luck, you multiply that by 5, you have a 50% chance of hitting a crit with every single shot from that weapon, meaning that it's going to rack up crits really, really fast. Crit damage is also something that I've seen get kind of confused as well. And crit damage is generally the same amount of base damage that the weapon has. Now, this can be changed with certain perks like better crits where you have 50% more damage, but for the most part, on most weapons, it is just the base damage multiplied by 2, since you're hitting with the base damage. So let's say you have a pistol that does 10 damage, and then you have a 1 times crit modifier, and you have 10 crit damage. When you hit a crit, that's not just 10 crit damage, because the crit damage doesn't override the regular damage. It is added to the regular damage. So if you hit, then you will hit for 10 damage, and then if it's a crit, you'll get that extra 10 damage added on. So you'll be doing 20 damage with that crit. And this can actually be doubled on sneak crits. Sneak crits you can hit with pretty much any weapon so long as you are hidden, and this will double the effective crit damage that you do. So again, let's use the example of a pistol dealing 10 damage and having 10 crit damage. So you'll hit with the initial 10 damage, then you'll hit with the crit, which is 10 damage, but this is doubled thanks to the sneak modifier, so that'll be 20 damage. So you hit the enemy for 30 damage in total. You can kind of see how this could rack up damage really fast, and in certain games, it definitely did. In the older games, like in Fallout 1, 2, and Tactics, this also determined how often you would hit crits, but just based off of your luck. So you were more likely to roll crits on a high luck character than you were on a low luck character. In Fallout 4, this isn't necessarily the case. Higher luck does equate to better crits because a lot of perks are related to crits in Fallout 4. So if you want to build luck, then you can. But in Fallout 4, crits are a resource that you can use inside of VATS. So they're not really calculated the same way, although sneak crits still are. So if you are sneaking and hit an enemy, then you'll still do extra damage. This can also be affected by certain perks in Fallout 4, like the Ninja perk, which is, in my opinion, kind of busted, since it allows you to do so much more damage. Fallout 3 and Fallout New Vegas, crits can still be really useful. They're generally good on almost any sort of weapon build. They're good on a guns build, energy weapon build, melee, and unarmed build. The only build that they're not really great on would be either a pacifist run, because you don't need to hit crits if you're being a pacifist, and explosive build, since explosives generally don't have any crit damage or have very low crit damage. It doesn't really matter if my Fat Man can hit a crit if it's doing 1 extra damage. The Fat Man already has, 1400 damage on it. Adding an extra 1 point of damage or 2 points of damage with a sneak hit is not going to make a huge difference in the overall amount of damage that I do. So building for luck on an explosives build may not really be the best. This is also the reason why shotguns got rebalanced in New Vegas compared to 3, because in 3 shotguns were just straight up overpowered, since they did the same amount of damage as the total amount of pellets hitting on each pellet if it hit a crit. So if you hit with 9 pellets and, together they do 100 damage, that might not be overpowered. But if individually they hit 100 damage, and then this could be doubled with a sneak crit, and it could be added to that 100 damage, you can see how the shotguns kind of get overpowered really, really fast then, because you're just multiplying the damage by so much then. In New Vegas, this isn't really as much of an issue. None of the shotguns are potentially overpowered with a crit build. There's also a couple other things that luck does affect, like luck can affect your gambling luck in New Vegas, so you just have a higher chance of winning. It's great to have high luck if you want to run to the casinos. This affects every game except for Caravan, because Caravan is not affected by luck whatsoever. Hopefully this kind of clears some things up. This was just a quick video that I wanted to talk about with the crits and crit chance and everything, because it seems like there's a lot of confusion there. Hopefully this kind of helped you out and understood luck a little bit better. Thank you guys so very much for watching this. Hope that you guys enjoyed it, and I'll talk to you next time. Bye-bye, everybody.